for everything that Locke has done for us as people. So I will invite the Member of Parliament from Green Party, Locke.
And it's great to be here today with you to celebrate so many different communities to celebrate World Refugee Day. And I think, as Jackie said, it is a celebration, and I'm very pleased to be able to speak after Jackie and to congratulate her on the work she's been doing for the refugee community. And I've worked closely with her on a lot of issues, and that's great, but it's not just one party or two parties, it's a cross-party effort to try and make sure that the refugee community is properly served. And I'd like to congratulate the hosts of this meeting and the different organisations involved, and of course particularly the Auckland Refugee Community Coalition. And it's so great to have others from Amanda from Christchurch and Adam from Wellington, who's part of the National Refugee Network. So it's great the way that network's all organised now in promoting the cause of refugees in New Zealand, and of course the refugee services and ARMS, the great work they do, and people from other organisations who are represented in this room tonight. I think the slogan, they took my home but they can't take my future, is really what it's about. That we here, and certainly people like myself from New Zealand, are paying tribute tonight to the refugees and their families for surviving such a difficult journey from their homeland before they get to New Zealand, and then the new challenge of building a new life for their families in New Zealand. And there's a huge amount of success stories in that regard. And one of the things we have to do in Parliament, and I do as a Green MP in Parliament, is try to get not only other MPs but New Zealand as a whole to understand the refugee crisis that still exists in this world. As Jackie said, there's 40 million or 43 million refugees in the world today. There's still a huge crisis, still huge conflict, including in several of the countries that people in the communities represented here tonight come from. And just counter any prejudice against refugees. It has got a little bit easier, I must admit, in this Parliament. When Vincent Peters New Zealand First was in the last Parliament, it was a bit of an uphill struggle sometimes, because his party was very anti-refugee, but I think now we are working together a bit more. Although, while we're celebrating these successes and the fact that New Zealand established a refugee quota of 750 a year, and celebrating all that's been achieved over the time that that quota's been in existence, we could still do more, and that's one of the roles that I try and play and the Green Party tries to play. So we could take a bit bigger quota. We've suggested 1,000, and last year actually we didn't actually fulfil the 750 quota, and 700 came in, one reason or another, and the number of asylum seekers, people applying at the border, has gone down hugely over the last 3 or 4 years. So New Zealand has got room to take some more. There's no boat people arriving too far across the sea. So, but it's good that I think some came in just the other a few days ago. Some people from the Oceanic Vikings, some Tamil people who'd been trapped and had nowhere to go, and New Zealand has taken 13 days. So it's a good start. So we're pushing for that support to continue. And in combating the prejudice, sometimes it's around particular cases where the person, and I was involved in the Atmazawi case for many years, which was successful in the end, that despite all the hurdles that he and his family faced, with going through the system, putting the public pressure on everything else. Now he is settled with his family in Palmerston North, and there was a bit in the newspaper recently about he starting up a kebab stall in the middle of Palmerston North. So for someone who was the victim of vicious attacks on talkback and everywhere else, now when he's in the community, people must chap after him. And I think that's a story with a lot of refugees that sometimes face prejudice in one way or another. But in the end, with the support of all the good people and with being up front and the support of the refugee organisations, we win through in the end. We always try and get a little more money for refugee settlement and settling in. And we were, when we were working with the Labour government, able to get $250,000 through arrangement agreements had with the Labour government, and each $250,000 for regional services and some money that went ultimately through the Ministry of Social Development for settling in work. And some of that's continued on in the budget of the National Party, and I do praise some of the extra money that's come in and the work that Jackie and others here have been doing with the refugee doctors, because that's been an ongoing problem of people's qualifications, not because of the strange way some of the professional bodies work. They didn't quite fit into the system and the transitional programs and bridging programs. That's great, and we fully support that and the work that Jackie and others are doing there. We've also always got to keep an eye on what's happening in terms of the funding too, because sometimes one of our criticisms from the Green Party is that there's a bit of, with the recession and things like that, there's something going on here and there, and one thing we were very much against is cutting off the funding for the night classes, because a lot of refugees, that is an important transition for them to be educated, to really join society. And of course, in meeting other people too. I think meeting grounds are quite important too, and one thing I think many of us have been thinking about over the last day or the last week is soccer. And to me, soccer is very much a meeting ground in Auckland and around the country for people from different communities. And one thing I was thinking about today, looking at the All Whites team, is perhaps in 4 years' time, when New Zealand goes to the next World Cup, that the team will be a bit more reflective of some of the refugee communities. Because I know there's a lot of good soccer players from different communities in New Zealand, and particularly the young kids coming on, the second generation. Some of those will, I think, end up in the All Whites, and that helps overcome a lot of the prejudice in society too, that joint projects like the World Cup. The other thing I think that New Zealanders sometimes don't understand, that they should celebrate more the role that refugee communities play in making sure New Zealand is a good international citizen. And we talked a bit about human rights and what Green Party people like myself have done on human rights, but we've always done that really in collaboration with the communities who are the most informed and understanding of the human rights communities. And you mentioned the Tamils, and I see there's a Tamil display up the back and Somalian display, etc. That it's people from those communities that are the driving force to New Zealand, taking a stronger stand on human rights, supporting the peacemaking and the development of a just world. So I congratulate the communities for that. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to more great cultural performances.